Hello everybody and welcome to this brand new show, The Diabetical, with me, James. Today I will be talking about the two different types of diabetes and what it does to your health as well as your body. So without further ado, let's get on with today's show. So the first thing I would like to talk to you about is type 1 diabetes. Now for those of you who don't know what type 1 diabetes is, well, you're in for a treat. Type 1 diabetes is where your body produces little or no insulin at all. This is very different to type 2 diabetes, as we will explain later on in the program. Now we are going to watch a short video about type 1 diabetes and why it is important to people. So, without further ado, let's take a look at this.
About 10% of people with diabetes have type 1. It's got nothing to do with diet or lifestyle, it just happens. When you have type 1 diabetes, your body attacks the insulin-producing cells in your pancreas, so you can't produce any insulin at all. And we all need insulin to live. It does an essential job. It allows the glucose in our blood to enter our cells and fuel our bodies. When you have type 1 diabetes, your body
So this is your where it is.
still breaks down the carbohydrate from food and drink.
Oh yeah, this is your stomach. So the food goes down here and it breaks down through this pipe here.
And turns it into glucose. But when the glucose enters your bloodstream, there's no insulin to allow it into your body's cells. More and more glucose then builds up in your bloodstream. So what does this mean? Well, before diagnosis, your body tries to get rid of the glucose through your kidneys, and that makes you wee a lot. Weeing so much leads to another symptom of diabetes, extreme thirst. Because glucose can't enter your cells to give you energy, you'll feel incredibly tired. To try and
We will explain these symptoms in a minute.
get energy, the body breaks down fat stores to provide fuel. That's why people often lose weight before discovering they've got type 1 diabetes. These symptoms tend to come on quickly, over just a few days or weeks. Anyone who has these symptoms should see a doctor as soon as possible. If you've got type 1 diabetes, you get insulin into your body by injecting it, or using a pump which delivers a constant supply into you.
So there are two ways of putting insulin into your body, with a injection, so using a syringe, or a pump, which some people have.
You'll also need to check that your blood glucose levels are not too low or too high by using a blood glucose testing device several times a day.
This is what this is as explained.
When you start taking insulin, you'll begin to feel better, and your blood glucose levels will go down. This is important because over a long period of time, high glucose levels in your blood can seriously damage your heart, your eyes, your feet, and your kidneys. These are known as the complications of diabetes. But with the right treatment and care, the long-term effects of diabetes and high glucose levels can be managed. You can find out how we can help you manage your diabetes on our website. We're still not sure why some people get type 1 diabetes and others don't, or why the immune system of someone with type 1 attacks the cells that produce insulin. But our researchers are learning more and more about type 1 diabetes, so we can develop new treatments and one day find a cure.
So I hope after watching that you have a better understanding of type 1 diabetes. So now we're going to look at the symptoms of how you might find out that you've got it. So some of the symptoms that you may get is as follows: increasing thirst, so drinking lots, frequent urination, so going to the toilet a lot through the day and night, extreme hunger, weight loss, and also feeling tired all the time, so fatigue. Now we're going to look at the history of type 1 diabetes. Early testing took place in the 1800s, The first chemical tests were to indicate and measure the presence of sugar in the urine. These were tests that took place. So there's four main ones. There was the excessive passing of urine, ants were attracted to the urine, water tasters, and sweet taste of blood. There were also early treatments of type 1 diabetes in the 1870s. There were flood rationing in Paris during the France-Prussian War. This had led to individual tests of people. While this test was taking place, the hormone, insulin, which controls your blood sugars, has been discovered. This had been discovered by Frederick Banting in Canada. So let's get a picture up of him. Just give me 2 minutes. Where are we? Oh, here we are. Okay, so this man here, you can't really see him well. It's camera moves in. So this is a picture of Frederick Banting here, which you may not see because of the light. In fact, just give me, as you can see here, Frederick Banting here. He began to experiment with different pancreatic extracts of depancreatized dogs, which I found this very interesting. So the first ever person that was treated with type 1 diabetes was a man called Leonard Thompson. If I move on now, which is this boy here. So as you can see here, he was the first patient to receive insulin in Toronto in Canada. He lived from 1908 to 1935. The treatment was considered as being experimental. So the scientists that are involved with type 1 diabetes have been talking about some of the things that they may want to do in the future. And also particularly cure it. Here's what I got. So the first one was cell therapy. Now cell therapy is a therapy in which viable cells are injected, grafted or implanted into your body. This would be a massive treatment strategy for type 1 diabetic patients. The next thing that I got was replacing cells. So replacing the insulin producing cells could potentially recover normal insulin production and cure patients. Also, you could attacking the origin with immunotherapy, and also to automated treatment with an artificial pancreas. These plans for the future would be amazing if they were to develop more and to commence. Oh, here we are. Right, okay, so the reason why I wanted to do this show is because my sister has type 1 diabetes. She's been a massive inspiration to me as she has developed and progressed her diabetes since she was diagnosed with it 8 years ago. Over the years, I've had to be trained on how to test her blood sugar and also how to treat her if she has a hypo, which is a low blood sugar above 4. Here are some pictures which show things that I use to test Chloe's bloods. Take a look at these. So here we are. So this is her blood machine here. So these buttons can control which way it goes, so up and down. This image shows a blood sugar of 3.8, which means it is low. So here, if you can't see, it's there's a mmol over an L, which stands for millimoles per litre. And there's date and time shown here. these are the things in which I use. So we've got a bottle of lemonade. We've got a cup here. And we've also got a tub of glucotabs. So now it's time for an interview that I did with my sister Sophie earlier last week. So without further ado, let's watch it, and I hope you enjoy. Here we go. Hello, Sophie.
Hello, James.
I'm here to ask you some questions about what is it like to live with someone who has type 1 diabetes. Is that alright with you?
Yes, it is.
Right, Sophie. First question. Does your sister do her diabetes herself or not?
No, her mummy does it.
And why is that?
Well, she isn't capable of doing it herself.
Ah, alright. Sophie, do you know any symptoms of type 1 diabetes?
Yes, I do. There are lots of them. These are thinking lots, reading lots, hungry all the time, mood that changes, and blurred vision.
Oh, that's a lot of symptoms for type 1 diabetes. Are there any tests that you could do to see if you're diabetic or not? Now, before we go along, these tests, what are going to be mentioned, are really important for the scientists as well as you guys at home need to know.
Yes, they are. There's the ketone test and the auto antibodies test, and there is a C-peptide test.
Wow, so many tests. Well, thank you, Sophie, for taking this time to speak to me and also to the people that are watching this.
Oh, no problem.
If you want to find out more information on all the things we have talked about, then go to the website www.diabetes.org.uk to find out more. So after watching that interview, you will now know more about type 1 diabetes and why it is important from the one with Diabetes UK and myself. Now, that's one out of the way. So now we're going to move on to type 2 diabetes, which is a lot different to type 1. So without further ado, let's go on with it. So type 2 diabetes is very similar to type 1 diabetes, but it is controlled in a different way. For those who don't know, type 2 diabetes happens when the body does not produce enough insulin to function properly, or the body cells don't react to the insulin. This means that the glucose stays in the blood and isn't used as fuel for energy. This is very important for people to know about this, because the more people that will know, the better for people to see the signs. So now we will look at a short video about type 2 diabetes, as this will give you an idea of what it is about and how to treat it. Let's take a look at this.
About 90% of people with diabetes have type 2 diabetes. If you've got type 2, the insulin your pancreas makes can't work properly, or your pancreas can't make enough insulin. And we all need insulin to live. It does an essential job. It allows the glucose in our blood to enter our cells and fuel our bodies. When you have type 2 diabetes, your body still breaks down carbohydrate from your food and drink and turns it into glucose. The pancreas responds to this by releasing insulin. But because this insulin can't work properly, blood glucose levels keep rising, so more insulin is released. For some people with type 2 diabetes, this can eventually tire the pancreas out, meaning their body makes less and less insulin.
This is a true fact.
This causes even higher blood glucose levels. So what does this mean? Well, as your body can't get enough glucose into your cells, a common symptom of type 2 diabetes is feeling very tired. Other symptoms include needing to wee a lot, feeling extremely thirsty, cuts and grazes healing slowly, and getting infections like thrush.
These, some of the symptoms are very similar to type 1, apart from one thing. I forget it.
Some people don't get any symptoms or they don't notice them. Some people don't think the symptoms are important, so don't ask for help. This means that people can live with type 2 diabetes for up to 10 years before being diagnosed. And over a long period of time, high glucose levels in your blood can seriously damage your heart, your eyes, your feet, and your kidneys. These are known as the complications of diabetes. But with the right treatment and care, the effects of diabetes and high glucose levels can be managed. So if you've got any of these symptoms, see a doctor as soon as possible. There are different ways of treating type 2 diabetes. Some people can manage it by healthy eating, being more active and losing weight. Eventually, most people will need medication to bring their blood glucose down to a safe level. Whatever the treatment, everyone with type 2 diabetes needs to learn how to live with it. We help people do exactly that. Take a look at our website to see how we can help you. Our researchers are also investigating ways to put type 2 diabetes into remission, so people's blood glucose levels return to normal and stay there. And they're finding out more and more about type 2 diabetes, so that we can do more to prevent it, find new ways to treat it, and one day find a cure.
Now you will have more information about what type 2 diabetes is. Now it's time for an interview about type 2 diabetes. So here's one that I did with my sister Sophie. Let's take a look. But before all that, we're going to take a short break. I will see you after the break. Welcome back to the Diabetical show with me. Now before the break, I was going to show you a interview that I did for my sister Sophie earlier last week. Well, this is it. Here we go with the interview about type 2 diabetes with Sophie and me. Enjoy. Hello Sophie.
Hello, James.
I'm here to ask you some questions about type 2 diabetes. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Sophie, do you know anybody that has type 2 diabetes?
Yes, my daddy and Nan and Carol has it.
And do you know how long they've had it for?
My daddy has had it for 7 years and my Nan had it for 4.5 years.
Okay. Sophie, do you know any symptoms of type 2? So if you can't see here, this is me, and this is my sister Sophie. Diabetes.
Yes, I do. These are feeling thirsty all the time, feeling tired, weight loose, slow to heal cuts and blurred vision.
Well, Sophie, that's a lot of symptoms. Would you say that type 2 diabetes is a big thing in the UK?
Yes, James, it is a lot of people in the UK have type 2 diabetes and the population of people getting it growing as we speak.
This is why, Sophie, people should know about it. Last question. What do you want people to take away from this interview?
I want people to know that living
Ready?
with type 2 diabetes, like my nana, not had of having it could infect the rest of your life.
That's a good message you said there. Well, Sophie, thank you you for taking your time to talk to me today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye, Sophie.
Bye, James.
So after watching that, I hope you've enjoyed and what a product it is. So our family has a lot of diabetic people in it. So it ranges from my sister with type 1 and my uncle to my nan and my stepdad and everybody else that has it in type 2. One day, someone in your family could develop the symptoms for any type of the diseases that we have, the conditions that we have talked about so far. So, that conducts this show about what the two types of diabetes are and why it is important. If you have any questions or you want to find out more information on the things that we have talked about today, then please go to the website as follows. They will appear on the screen, but I will read them out just in case. www.diabetes.org.uk, www.nhs.uk/conditions/type 1 diabetes, and www.nhs.uk/conditions/type 2 diabetes. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye for now.